talk about the subject of the mind right from the very first classes. And so with your kind cooperation, let's just take a couple of minutes and do what we might do in part of the first class. One of the first classes in the introductory courses that Robin will talk about shortly somewhat teases us into talking about what the mind is, what we think the mind is, which is a very difficult subject to articulate. And a perhaps easier way to access that subject matter is to talk about what the mind does. And that's the topic of this little mini class that we're having right now. So I would invite anybody with a thought about what it is that you think your mind does to just call that out. What are the functions, what are the operations that you would describe as being carried out by what you call your mind? Any volunteers?
To notice something.
To notice. So the mind observes and takes note.
It reminded me to get here today.
Which involves memory as well. So, as well as kind of it's time to think about reminder, yes. Any other thoughts about functions?
It seems to mediate your whole experience of reality. In fact, you can dwell on whether mind and matter, and mind generates matter, and matter generates mind. I think the majority of people in Berkeley, or that I speak to, tend to think that matter comes from mind. And so, when we think about Jung's view of psychic reality, it's like the psyche isn't in us, we're in the psyche. So it really underlies all our experience.
That's a wonderful choice of verb to say it mediates our reality. That's a very encompassing. We've had other people talk about the filter or the prism, But sticking with functions, any other activities or operations or functions of the mind that come to mind?
I think it's very mechanical. You follow a process right from day to end. You have it chalked out in your mind that this is what I have to accomplish today. And you tell your mind, or you tell yourself.
The checklist.
Yes, the checklist.
The agenda. And then the reminding function, which is always very helpful.
So mediating reality, mind creates a checklist. It creates the one who checks off the checklist. It creates the one who creates the next checklist. It creates the list itself. It creates the urgent sense of need for the list in the first place, right? So there's a set of emotions that come up through mind that seems to motivate us. Mind is providing the motivation for whatever it is that then constitutes our reality. It's noticing what's going on outside. It's providing the structure and steps for creating what's going on inside. What else? How would we describe some of those inside activities? We've talked very generally. We've said memory. We've said reminders. We've said list making. No one said
emotion.
Thought, but
Emotion.
Definitely emotion. What are the other bits and pieces, in other words, that come through